Hello, 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 hello. Okay. So let's talk about for the day, right? Or for the week. Let's start for the week. For the week, finally off to a good start. This is the first time I actually start off on a winning day on Monday. Um, yeah. So again, 4 trades, $115, and then we have today, which we had. But I actually entered this trade. Was it Tuesday? No, it was actually Monday. So actually it closes. It counts when it closed. Because in reality, I had actually taken this trade here on Sunday, but I closed it on Monday. And then Monday, in the morning, I entered this trade here, these 3 trades. And then I closed it out today in the morning. So yeah, so as you can see, we got 3 positions. And this was that. It was like 0.01 lots. This one was a standard. This one was no, sorry. This was a 0.5. So came out to like a standard, but yeah, spread it out, right? So yeah, last week, not my greatest week. I had again, we could have came out profitable, right? I already went kind of over this, but we could have came out profitable, but here's what it is. So now we're kind of getting back on track. And we're starting off really, really good, right? So let's talk about these trades real quick. This is actually GU. Been working on GU a lot. So finally kind of pushed through out of this kind of zone that we were at, struggling here. Not struggling, we took, I think, 4 trades, that whole consolidation area. I think we won 2, lost 2. Oh no, we won 3, lost 1. So yeah, so let's talk about this trade, right? So I understood that we're pretty much coming at this little zone right here. It's kind of a simple trade, to be honest, but it took a while. And again, at the moment I had like, I think 200 and something. I think it's like 212 or something. $212 in my account. Close positions. Yes. Or maybe not. What is it? Close trades. This is good. Oh yeah, this was okay. So all along here, right, as you can see, GU. So we actually took a. Yeah, so that first trade right here, right, 213. The one that we lost was because we tried to enter a sell. I want to say. I think it was a sell. Yeah, it was a sell. I'm trying to remember where exactly it was. I forgot where it was exactly. But then we entered a buy, right? So we entered a buy. So we lost the sell, then we entered a buy. Or no, we entered another sell. I thought it was up here actually. So this is something else then. This is something else. I forgot exactly what order it is, but pretty much I think what I remember was we took a buy right here. We caught this buy here. Caught this buy here. Won that. Then we tried catching this. Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, so we had like 2-3 positions here. Caught the buy. Was in profit, maybe like $200, $300. And then we pretty much, this calendar right here is what pretty much made us lose like $70. So we're up about $300. And again, why did I hold? Don't know. But again, held. So I thought this could push up a lot more based off just kind of structure itself here. Just based off this here, it was just pretty much maintaining. So I thought we could push. I didn't think we were gonna get all this. That was obviously news. Don't know what news that was, but it was some type of news that made all that. And then pushed up, and then see, I took me out right for $70 loss. Then we tried entering again a sell, and I think same thing. Like I caught the sell, I caught this little push after this close. I caught these two candles here, and I thought that we could at least push even maybe more down to here. So I held. Next thing you know, it got me. It is what it is, right? And then once that kind of, so that again, I'm like $70. I think here I lost like 200. And then finally this, and I knew it was gonna sell this whole time, right? That's what I caught this here, but I don't know, for some reason with this short, I was like, let me be patient a little bit more, especially because we're based off this. So I understood the risk of trying to hold this, but I didn't think. Again, even with when this candle here closed right there, I think I was still like 100 and something like bucks in profit, which I was okay with this kind of closing and like being. But like I said, we literally pushed up here, so I was like, all right, we pushed up. We have a little bit of bullish momentum here. Let's see if we can kind of carry this on a little bit, and if not, then I'll close for $170, $200 in profit, right? The next candle just took off. It just literally just took off, and then I was just like, can't do anything about it, And so close out there, right? So I knew we were pretty much bearish. That's why I even re-entered bearish here, even with this long push. But I was like, all right, I knew we were bearish this whole time. Again, me not under. At this point, I wasn't really understanding structure as a whole. I thought here we could for sure see like the push down, which we didn't. And then we came back up, and then we finally pushed, right? So then at this point, I knew we were bearish. My entries were just not on point. My overall direction at that time was not on point. And then again, as it was coming here, I pretty much caught this little lower high point, and then I caught this wholesale. Boom, caught the sell, right? Once that happened, I tried to re-enter for another sell, and I think this candle here is what took me out. And I thought for sure, I was like, here, I was like, okay, we got this push. I was like, for sure, like confident in this move. Next thing you know, crazy wick, pulls, and then ends up pushing down. Literally, where I was literally aiming at this right here. This is where I was aiming the entire time. But this trade here, this whole entire setup, really just gave me like perspective as to like, okay, I understood the main direction, which I was right. It was bearish, and it did come down here. But this really just gives me perspective as to like, things aren't just gonna happen right away. Sometimes they might, and that's kind of where I kind of not messed up, but where it kind of got me. Because I remember my first trade like last month, I had entered. It was on UJ, and I remember like it was this trade right here actually. I think it was like here. I was like, alright, we're just gonna push, and we ended up pushing, like just pushing straight. So ever since this push here, I was like, okay, cool. I've had that mentality as like, cool, like I got a nice clean push. I can see us getting nice clean pushes off like down here. Anytime I try to trade, that's like my bad thing. Like, all right, I can see this flowing just like on UJ, So that's kind of what has me a little bit, my psychology a little bit messed up. But yeah, so nonetheless, we got taken out. I think that was, or did I forget, man. I take so many trades, I forget. I think we did. So we got this sell here, and then I tried catching. I did push up right there. Oh yeah, so I did try catching a sell. Yep. So I was still bearish, remember that, but I entered the sell here. That's where I entered my sell, all the way down here. So then as this was pushing back up, took me out. And I obviously didn't have enough account size to kind of hold this, but I'm gonna push down, you know what I mean? And trust me, this was looking really, really bullish. I thought for sure we were gonna touch this freaking sky after this because of how bullish it was. Like this was all just a clean bullish candle. And then H4, as you can see here, was all bullish. I was like, bro, like, there's no way. I was like, alright. I thought I was just wrong on overall structure. I was like, dude, I'm so wrong. It kind of left me a little bit like messed up because I thought I was just completely wrong, you know. But again, it was just structure is just gonna do structure, you know. It's just gonna do structure and then a push down. So whatever. Nonetheless, we came up here, right? This is kind of where I had this at. This was a pretty risky trade. So I was already trading by like Sunday, like somewhere in between here. So Sunday, 7, 8, Monday, boom. Yeah, it was like around here. I was already trying to trade this. Yeah, because we didn't end up actually pushing down over here. Pushed up, yeah. So then I caught this here, right? And then I caught this push up here, boom. And I knew this was where we were aiming at least touching that area, which we did perfectly. We touched it. And then once we kind of touched this area here, we ended up pushing down. So here I was kind of like just waiting a little bit, like trying to see whether or not we're going to actually continue this push. But on a lower time frame, I was on this on the 30-minute. It was based off here. We just weren't, right? As you can see, this push here, we started getting a lot of consolidation, a lot of support, a lot of struggle, all this stuff here. I had started to actually buy this right around here. I want to say, yeah, right around here, because we came back already touching this level of support, and that's kind of where we're just at, right? We're just at this level there. But as you can see, it ended up pushing a little bit more down to this area. So I don't know about this, to be honest, because I know that what I mean by this is like I know that we have like this key area right there, right? The zone that I put out. Sometimes it'll just touch and then push up. Sometimes it'll come literally to it. Sometimes it'll even pass through just a little bit. So I don't know if I would consider that a bad entry, because I understood that we had already touched this zone twice, 1, 2. So that's kind of what I was kind of basing my my entry off of, right? Well, not this one. It was more this one right here. Boom. So remember, this is where we started to like buy all around here. I had 3 buy positions right around here. Boom, boom, boom. I had 2. Came back down. I entered another one, I think right here or something like that. So with that being said, right, I just kind of took that here. We ended up going a bit in profit here, and then we ended up straight coming back down, maintaining underneath this level. The next thing you know, we ended up just continuing to push down, right? I think I was in drawdown for like $100, maybe like $100. But I knew that, okay, we're coming into the zone. As long as we can maintain the zone, I'm good. If it tends to push back down, it could still push up, but at that point, there's no reason for me to hold this, because from here, right, from my entries, and my entry was like right here. This here is not too far from my entry, right? It's just not that far. But once we start getting underneath the zone, that's kind of already a bit too much. Like I was just wrong overall, and at that point it can just continue to push down to these areas or even lower, right? So that's not something that we want to be a part of. So that's something that, again, I would just close out. But again, as we started to come down into these zones, I saw that we were kind of struggling, and that's pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much what kind of gave me the confidence to kind of continue to hold this, right? Because right here I was thinking about, alright, should I call it quits? And I was like telling myself, like, alright, if we can't see like any type of struggle, if we see just nothing but strong candles, kind of like we did here, then I'll call it quits. But we didn't, and we ended up pushing back up, maintaining this whole entire level, and then we ended up pushing all the way. And I think I ended up taking profit right around this candle here. Once I saw we kind of struggle, because I remember I let this kind of be bearish, cool, and then I was like, alright, can we get a bullish push? And I think we were going to get a nice bullish push, but then overall just ended up closing super weak. That's not what I wanted to be a part of, so I just pretty much closed that out. And as you can see right now, we're already starting to push a bit bearish. See, this is what I mean too, like, entering these trades here were early in the morning. Early in the morning. I was actually thinking about entering another trade here. But this consolidated, right? But again, structure can just do whatever. You know, sometimes it'll just consolidate. Sometimes it'll just push. Doesn't really matter the time, right? Because again, this was like a 9 to 10 o'clock trade. Right now, it's currently 9, about to be 10. So, I'm thinking about entering, but I'm not too sure. I definitely know the reason why I might not trade or hold any long-term trades is because we have CPI. We have CPI. we have like we have a lot. We have a lot of CPIs going on. So we have a lot of news events, and that's something that I don't want to be a part of, especially with the war going on. I don't know what's actually like. I just don't know, right? I'm not really more of a fundamental person. I'm more of a technical analysis type of guy. So at this point, I think I'm gonna just set it out. Let Wednesday do what it's gonna do, and then afterwards, just try to see if we can find any type of positioning off those trades, you know. Yeah, so as of right now, looking like we could potentially. Yeah, so that was that, right? So that was that pretty much trade. Ended up taking a nice little buy. Caught it perfectly, and I looked at one with the trade. You know, this is perfect. This is something that, again, something that the old me, I guess, would say, I would try to hold on this. Cause I understand structure, like I understand that technically I would need it engulfing here to kind of like how it's doing now, but again, when it comes to the risk to reward, when it comes to losing all that money, it's not worth it, you know. So I think now going into this, I want to take every position I take. I want to have at least 2 to 3 entries, so that when I feel confident in holding, I can hold just one position, rather than trying to hold 3 positions. I mean, rather than just entering once and trying to hold that one and then not making profit at all if I am wrong. Right? At least if I enter 3 times, 2 times, I can hold 1, hold 2. Hold 1, close 2, and then I can still make profit for that day. And then just continue to move on, right? That's pretty much how I need to have it. So definitely as of right now, I don't want to do standards just yet. I think I'm just going to stick to my 0.5s and just enter at least 3 times every position. 3 times, 5 cents. But again, that right there, what I was pretty much about 100. So I was probably about 150. That third position was a 0.01. If I had put a 0.5, I think it would have been negative, maybe like 150, maybe 160, around that, which is again something that I would be willing to lose per position if that's what it took. Because again, and then that would have made me. I could have again. I made 500, but I think if that third one was a 0.5, I would have made like a 700 to 800 bucks extra. I mean, not extra. Total would have been 700 to 800 bucks. And yeah, so I think that's kind of where I'm gonna be at from now. Again, 800 bucks per position is sweet. It's nice, right? That's what we want to see. Yeah, so we'll just leave it at that for now, because I don't think I'm gonna be trading this. I think I'm only gonna maybe try to look for a trade off UJ, but same thing with UJ. I'm not too sure, right? Because again, with UJ, it's like we're coming up to this key area here, right? Just to kind of give us another outlook, right? Coming up to this key level here. Again, doesn't mean I'm just gonna sell. We're gonna just sell to the freaking sky, right? Doesn't mean that. But again, I think we can find maybe some type of struggle. Maybe not. Maybe it just continues to push through, right? That's the thing. So we want to be really, really patient when it comes to these areas. Daily, yeah. Really, really patient. We'll see what we see. But again, I think I don't want to close this more than like, I don't know. I don't think I want to close this like overnight. I think this is a trade that I might try to look for maybe around like 3 to 4 p.m., right? And then try to insert. And then by like 9, 10, already try to call it quits. You know, we either got the move or we didn't. And this might just be not even a quick move. This might just be a quick move, but it might not be a lot that we catch because of how we're all the way at the top right here. So I don't really know how much momentum we can really get from this. Yeah, because right now there hasn't been much momentum. We've just been pushing. Like there hasn't been like strong momentum candles like this or like this, right? We've just been getting very, very choppiness. Push up. So yeah, I don't know how much. And again, we have CPI in the morning, so I'm just gonna let CPI do what it's do. If I can find one trade, at least one little push, one little something, right? I would like to be at 1,000, a little bit above 1,000, heading into Thursday, and then Thursday, Friday, same thing. Maybe Thursday I'll try to maybe insert like a little long. That'll then maybe lead to Friday, and then Friday maybe try to find like another short, right? So again, I mean, we're trying to make as much, right? There's no limit, there's no minimum. We're trying to make as much money as possible, right? And the same thing, I don't want to give too much of analysis because again, CPI, with CPI, I don't know. Like I said, when it comes to these big news events, I don't know what I could possibly like. What could be the outcome, right? So I'm just gonna let it be, and then after that, I'm gonna just react off it, right? But just kind of like a quick little analysis, right? We're still pretty much bullish based off the weekly higher low, higher high, and then we got this little higher low or potential higher low point that we can potentially see kind of pushing up. As of now, it looks good for the push up because again, we had this little push here, which is probably like a lower high, lower low on like lower time frames. If we kind of go on the daily, you can kind of see a little bit better. Boom, lower high, lower low, lower high, and now we're trying to like again push, right? But we're not making that lower low again. So this can be considered as a double bottom, and then potentially take this to the upside. Yeah, potentially take this to the upside. Yeah, I don't know. I'm saying I don't know because I don't know if I want to trade CPI. Because again, I think if with CPI, say CPI goes really really good, or say like all the numbers come out good, I definitely do see this pretty much pushing all the way up till here. Right, and that's I don't know. That's not I want to catch that move, especially if it was bullish. So I think with CPI and with structure overall still being bullish, I think it'll make a nice move and just kind of maintain that move. You know, I'm not trying to miss that at all. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try to find something maybe into like a 0.05 and just let it be. You know what I mean? Just let it be. We'll see. Because again, I'm still pretty bullish based off all this. Right now, daily is the only thing that's kind of a bit bearish. But again, right now we're creating a potential lower high point. I mean, higher low point right here. At this key level, if this can be that higher low point to pretty much make this shift. But again, we'll need to see like a higher high point. And for us to see that higher high, we would need to see it pretty much right here. Yeah, so that's that. That is that. So we'll see how we kind of play this out. We'll see. But so yeah, so overall I still think this can push bullish as long as the CPI does not mess us up. Still good. As right now we're kind of pushing back here. I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually do pull back all the way back down here. And actually, I would love if it does that because I feel like I would get a little bit more confident off of just kind of entering off another position, off a nice deep position. Yeah, so we'll see how structure is. We'll see how structure looks like. Daily. Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. We shall. Daily. 9 right here. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how this kind of plays out. But ultimately, I don't know. I would love to try to enter position and kind of ride CPI. That'd be nice. And then ride it with at the same time like flowing with CPI, but then also flowing with the overall structure, I think that would be a really big move. Big move. Definitely maybe even up here. Like this is something that I think that can potentially be hit if it came down to it. So and we'll see how structure kind of plays out. And that's pretty much it. So definitely a good start to the week. Right, we just gotta continue to build on this momentum. And just be sharp, right? Just be sharp, understand risk to reward. Gotta be sharp when it comes to these. I'm trying to enter, right? Trying to enter something that I also want to add on to. I think it was on this one here actually. Daily, right? Just the structure overall. Like we understood this now really good, and I wish we understood what we understand now back then, so that we can capitalize on this. But yeah, so this is a move that we were just so stuck on. And we were right, but we need to be a bit more flexible, right, to be able to withstand all these like high pushes and stuff. So lower high, lower low. It is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I can catch up a position. I don't think I want to touch gold. Gold is right now like, especially with the war, I don't know. We're just making this like, this would be crazy. This ends up being like a crazy pullback off the week. So maybe we get like a little push right here, and then we end up start to push all the way back to the upside, and that'll be sensational. I know that gold has, I don't think, could I enter a standard yet on gold? Not yet. I could, but it's not worth it. 0.5, a 0.5 would be half. Take profit. Take profit would still be crazy though. 25 racks. 25 fucking racks. $26. You see how like crazy that shit is, bro? Like, if you catch this move, you make 26 racks. That's insane, bro. That's insane. Even just like a candle, like a weekly candle, you're making 15,000. Like, imagine if you just caught this whole weekly push. Just a candle, not even the push. Just this candle alone, you got right. You're making freaking. Hold on, that's where the buy's at. Like, even just up right here, 6 racks. Catch this whole entire push back to the upside. 15 fucking thousand. You're talking about in a week. In a week, you're making 15,000. Crazy. Crazy. Yep. I don't even want to talk. I don't even want to say this, but I had a position right there. See that wick? That wickedy wick? Oh, lies. This is my position here. Oh, this bearish candle here. It ended up pushing all the way back up and hitting me out, and then it tanked. Great, that would have been freaking like $60,000 right now in profit. So I literally had a position right here, right there. That was my position right there on everything. This candle came back, wake me out, and then continue to push. And I'm still salty to this day about this. Gold owes me a lot of money. Gold owes me a lot of money. Because there's been plenty of times where I've been up. I just don't close. So yeah, so we'll see how the rest of the week goes. Yeah, so that'll be it. That is it.